When you send a message across the globe, your data almost certainly travels along the ocean floor. The internet is a physical grid, relying on hundreds of thousands of miles of heavy subsea cables. That physical grid has two major flaws. First, it requires constant maintenance and is highly vulnerable to accidental cuts and deliberate sabotage. Second, the glass fiber inside those cables actually slows light down by about 30%. Early satellite internet companies tried to bypass these physical hurdles to provide better coverage, but their systems were plagued by crippling latency. This diagram illustrates bent pipe architecture. A requested signal travels up to a satellite, bouncing back to a terrestrial ground station. From there, data travels through that same vulnerable ground network of fiber optic cables to its destination, adding significant delay. To strip away that delay and build a resilient global network, engineers realized they had to bypass Earth's infrastructure entirely. Satellites needed a way to route data directly to each other. The solution is optical inter-satellite links, or OISLs. These are networks of low Earth orbit satellites shooting infrared lasers at one another while traveling at 17,000 miles per hour. These lasers take advantage of a central quirk of physics. Because space is a vacuum, there is no physical material to cause drag. Light travels about 47% faster out there than it does through glass fiber on Earth. This visualization compares the two paths. When you route a connection over a long distance, like from London to Tokyo, a straight pulse of light through the vacuum of space easily outpaces a signal curving through subsea glass cables. By hopping from satellite to satellite, the data completely bypasses the physical surface of the planet. Connect enough of these nodes, and you create a closed-loop mesh network. The data never has to touch a mid-route ground relay again. Mega constellations are utilizing this exact concept to lift our internet off the ground and weave it into a high-speed orbital fabric. Building this orbital fabric has sparked a massive architectural race, led initially by SpaceX's Starlink. Starlink relied on brute force. By using their in-house Falcon 9 rockets, they flooded low Earth orbit with thousands of satellites quickly to secure market share, and then began retrofitting laser links into their newer hardware later on. Amazon Leo chose the exact opposite strategy. Rather than retrofitting, they decided to make their entire network laser native from day one. To do this, Amazon developed custom silicon. Their Prometheus baseband chips can process up to 1 terabyte of data per second on board, feeding directly into a 100 gigabit infrared laser system on every single satellite. Commercial companies aren't the only ones competing. China is currently deploying state-backed networks like Guowang and SpaceSail. They are already testing 400 gigabit laser connections designed to handle both civilian traffic and military tracking data simultaneously. Satellite internet has moved far past rural broadband. It's a highly strategic race among global powers to control the routing of the world's data. If humanity now possesses a sub-millisecond laser communication fabric in space, engineers are starting to ask what else we can move off-planet. The answer they are exploring is heavy AI computation, housed inside orbital data centers. Shifting server farms into space comes with massive logistical appeal. Tech companies could bypass years of terrestrial zoning laws and grid constraints while plugging their servers directly into continuous, uninterrupted solar power. The objective is to perform active computation outside of Earth's atmosphere, shifting the workload from terrestrial grids to orbital nodes. However, there is a severe physics roadblock standing in the way of that goal. While the vacuum of space is a blessing for moving light, it is a curse for managing heat. The Stefan-Boltzmann law dictates how heat behaves without an atmosphere, where radiated power depends on surface area and temperature. Unlike Earth's convection cooling, space has no air. Heat must radiate outward, requiring massive radiator panels that create severe weight penalties for every rocket launch. Infrared lasers and custom silicon are already succeeding in lifting the physical internet off the ground. But the brutal laws of thermodynamics will dictate whether the data center can follow it into orbit.